What is going on, world? What's up, everyone? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new video. This one is between two players on the WCS Pro circuit. Spawning here in the bottom left-hand corner of Lost and Found, Ellie, playing with the red Terran pieces. He's currently up in this series and wants to keep it rolling in his favor. His name is SpeCial. And his opponent, spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map, playing with the blue Zerg pieces. He's currently down in the series, but certainly not out of it just yet. His name is Bly. So guys and girls, game number one in this best of 5 series that was played at the WCS in Austin and was one of the round of 16 games in or of that tournament. And this is game number 2, but game number 1 was a very interesting one, to say the least. You know, Bly, of course, went for that quick gold base, or gold hatchery, and then, you know, kind of went from there, trying to, like, kind of throw SpeCial off just a little bit, which obviously did not work, because SpeCial was able to kind of buy himself some time and start with a little bit of his drop play that he's so well known for, with the medevacs and the marine drops, and then of course had his stellar defense that a lot of times he's very good at as well, and was able to slowly but surely overwhelm Bly in a very exciting game number 1. And if that was any telling for what is to come in this game, I have a feeling, guys, we're in for a treat here today. So that being said, Bly, he wants to get back in the series, obviously. He wants to get back in this thing. How do you do it against one of the best Terran players on the planet? Well, it looks like when we're starting off here, Bly's going for that hatch gas pool opener, so very standard on his side. So he's not going to go for anything super aggressive as of yet. Whereas his opponent, SpeCial, looks like he's going for that barracks into the orbital command, and then of course into the natural command center. So pretty standard on both sides. Looks like SpeCial did send out a quick SCV scout just to see if anything fishy is going on, because Bly is so notorious for his hyper aggressive builds. But you know, it's one of those things, guys. This is why these are two of my favorite players to watch out there in the world of StarCraft 2, simply because they both have very different styles, but at the same time, very, you know, they're very exciting to watch, as far as from a Terran standpoint, and then of course from a hyper aggressive Zerg player. It's just fun to watch. Metabolic boost is being researched right now, which of course is the Zergling speed upgrade, the most standard upgrade for a Zerg player. We are going to see that third hatchery is going down as well now, and it looks like that Reaper is going to just barely get away with his life. And it does look like those Zerglings are just being chipped away at. Beautiful micro here by SpeCial with that Reaper. Getting a good amount of value out of that Reaper, to say the least. And it does look like we are going to go ahead and we are going to see a the starport coming in. And once again, SpeCial's just getting a lot of value out of this one Reaper, just getting Zergling after Zergling after Zergling at this point. And those don't seem like they matter that much, guys, but in the grand scheme of things, when you're talking about the highest level of StarCraft 2, they do matter very much so. And it does look like we are going to see, of course, the factory, which has been constructed on that reactor, going for the double Hellions, which I like that decision a lot. Also going for the, out of the starport, the Banshee with the cloaking field. So we are going to see SpeCial going for a little bit of somewhat of the same kind of build that he did in game number 1, except for, of course, the Hellions, because he did go for that Banshee as well as the cloaking field in game number 1. We are going to see out of Bly, we're going to see, of course, none other than the Lair's going to be coming in here, as well as the Roach Warren. So it does look like Bly wants to go for those higher tier Lair-based units, possibly relatively soon. But that said, we are going to see 5 Hellions making their way towards what looks to be possibly either the natural or the third base. And we also have another Banshee, or I'm sorry, Hellion that is going to be joining in on the mix. And here comes these Hellions. They're going to try to get up that ramp. It looks like a couple of them are able to do so. They are going to get the surround. That is the Zerglings on some of those Hellions. The Hellions might be in a little bit of some trouble, though, as those Zerglings are going to take a nice engagement. A little bit of some micro, though. It does look like they are all going to go down, as in the Hellions. We're also going to see a Nidus network. Okay, so Bly once again wants to keep up the aggression. And, you know, a lot of times when you talk about the Nidus network, this is where it gets really, really interesting. Because the Nidus worm has been known to be very, very hard to really, when it comes to dealing any types of crippling damage for a Zerg player. They can do so much when it comes to, of course, the Nidus worm. And here we go. It does look like that's exactly what Bly wants to do. He wants to do as much damage as he possibly can. These queens are going to try to do what they can to hold on. And here come the Cyclones. But it does look like SpeCial's in a decent position right now. There's not a whole lot of units that are out of the Nidus worm as of yet. But this is exactly what Bly does so well, is cheesing his opponent. And a lot of people think that the Nidus worm is a little bit overpowered at this point in the current meta of StarCraft 2. But it does look like that Nidus worm is going to start to get some damage. But at the same time, does look like the transfuses do come in, and right now SpeCial is being put into a very difficult situation because it's very hard to deal with the Nidus worm when you are a Terran player. But here we go. Looks like a lot of these units are going to start moving in. They're going to try to start getting those biles and land them on, of course, those siege tanks, but it does look like a lot of damage is actually coming in here for SpeCial against Bly. Bly is actually taken a good amount of damage. Those siege tanks are in great positions, and it does look like he's slowly but surely trying to push this Nidus worm out. And it does look like he has actually been able to hold at this point. Beautiful play here so far by SpeCial, doing incredible things. As I was saying, you know, his defense is some. He has a very he does a very good job when it comes to his defense. He has a very stellar defense against really any kind of build that he goes against. But I gotta say, man, very well done by SpeCial. So SpeCial's got his third orbital command that is moving over, has now landed, and he's now going to be on 3 bases. Whereas, of course, you know, Bly is as well. And he's going for that 4th base right now as well. But at this point, SpeCial has got to be feeling very good about himself, simply because he's got, you know, he's of course, he was able to hold on to that push by Bly, which of course was a good amount of resources that Bly ended up taking into consideration there. SpeCial's also got Stimpack that's being researched. He's got, of course, you know, he's ramping up his production. You know, he's getting more and more SCVs out to, of course, get fully saturated on these bases. Now, we're starting to see the transition for Bly as well. He's going for the Hive, so he wants to get those higher tier Hive base units. He is also going for the Spire. So, Bly he's kind of in an interesting situation. The longer the game goes, Bly's, of course, going to be, I think he's going to be in a fine spot. The question, though, that remains in my eyes is SpeCial going to get aggressive here, you know, relatively soon, or is he just going to give Bly that mutual respect that he does deserve for sure? As Bly is, you know, continuing to try to ramp up his own production, we're starting to see of course, the Roaches, the Ravagers, as well as the Infestors coming in. We're also seeing the Ultralisk Cavern coming in as well. So this is where it gets very interesting as far as the unit compositions are concerned. Stimpack is going to be finished up in less than 10 seconds. Ground Carapace level 1 just finished up for Bly. And so here we go. It does look like some of these units are going to start trying to do a little bit of some damage here to some of those supply depots. That's exactly what they're going to do. And it looks like Bly just wants to be a little bit of a nuisance, it seems. Does look like this Banshee is going to have free range, though, of all of these units. Now, what just happened? I don't know what just happened to that Banshee. Oh, okay, so the Banshee must have, must have forced the the fungal growth on it, and that's why it was destroyed. Because at first I was wondering, wait a second, how did they just die? But that said, doesn't matter at this point. In the grand scheme of things, that Banshee was able to take out one of those infestors for their troubles. Now here's where it's going to get interesting, is it looks like Special is going to begin the drop plate, and this is where it becomes so deadly as we pass that 10-minute mark. This is where it gets really scary for a Zerg player, because you have to be very, very careful as to how you play this. We have multiple armies that are starting to move across the map here. It does look like those the Marine drop is going to begin over kind of in the middle of the playing field, and here comes another drop that's going to be happening in the main base location. This could do a lot. This could hurt a lot. As a lot of these units are starting to move in, they're going to try to start taking out as many of these tech structures as possible. Ultras are here, so the Ultralisks are going to kind of have the final say there, but more and more drops are happening, and this is what I'm talking about. This is where Special is just all over the map. More drop play is going to be happening, and the question is there going to be enough here for Bly to hold on without Special just picking apart his entire economy? And that's what you got to be very, very careful about. Now, we are seeing Corruptors coming in now for Bly, but of course, these medevacs are going to be able to do, you know, are just kind of shutting down a lot of these units, as far as, you know, like pushing a lot of the units into different areas across the map. Now, this Ultralisk is going to be in a perfect position to kind of fend off against all of those, against all of these medevacs. Now, these medevacs are going to be in some, a little bit of some trouble here. Oh man, and it does look like that medevac does get away with his life, as Bly is trying to obviously multitask somewhat. But that said, the main bulk of the army is still to come, as we are seeing a Ghost Academy is going to be going down. We're seeing those upgrades continuing here for Special, and looks like Special is smelling blood. He's got that 200 supplied. He's starting to go after a lot of this army. Lots of siege tanks as well. This is a very scary army that you're going to have to, you know, merge your way into, and there's a lot of siege tanks here at this ramp, and it looks like this base, which of course is the 5th base location, is going to go down, and here we go. Special's got another piece of army that's going to start moving as well, and this is where it's going to get very scary for our Zerg player. He's got to get a good position, otherwise this could absolutely spell disaster, because here we go. That 4th base location is already under a ton of pressure and does go down. Special doing so much damage right now. The fungal growth does come in. Beautiful play there by Bly, really cutting that army almost in half. But there's still a lot of drop play that's happening, and this is what Special does so well. Now, it does look like Special might have to go home for the time being. He did a good amount of damage, though. He was able to take out a couple of bases. Now, the Brood Lords are up now, though. So these Brood Lords are here, and now Special sees that the Brood Lords are there, and he smartly, wisely backs off. Adrenal Glands is going to be finishing up in a couple of seconds now for Special, or I should say for Bly. But Special is starting to really take over his side of the map. He's really starting to just take over kind of his area that he feels really confident with. And I know with more and more of these Brood Lords, this army is starting to get really, I mean, just really, it's starting to get pretty scary. He's got very high tier units, that is Bly. But at the same time, when I'm looking at Special and what Special's doing, you know, he's got a pretty good army though too. I mean, he really does. He's got a pretty strong army. I mean, we're talking, you know, not only the Vikings that are going to kind of be able to fend off those Brood Lords, but you also got the Ghosts, which you get those Ghost Snipes in, and that can be devastating for the Ultralisks as well as those Brood Lords. So I like the unit composition on both sides. I gotta say that at this point, it does look like Bly's army, you know, it's pretty good. It's not bad, but I actually like Specials a lot more. I like the unit composition a little bit more. And Bly, I mean, he's got a very strong army when it's on creep. Now, here we go. This is where it's going to get very interesting, because it looks like this army's going to try to pounce right on top of all those units. And it does look like snipes are all actually going to be coming in. Now, these guys are kind of caught off but those snipes did come in, and those were very, very detrimental. But here comes the Broodlords, and the Broodlords are going to start trying to chase this army, it looks like. It does look like they are going to be, they're going to back off, though. Wisely so. It's a very slow army composition, though, whereas SpeCial, it looks like he kind of just wants to slowly but surely pick away at this army. But this is anyone's game, guys. I mean, obviously. It is, you know, both players are almost at 200 supply, and so it's going to get very interesting very quickly. It all comes down to the micro of both these players, and it does look like SpeCial is not afraid and wants to start moving in towards that third base location. That's exactly what he's going to do. Fungal Growths are going to be coming in, as well as those Broodlings are coming in to try to do as much damage as possible. But here comes the Vikings. The Vikings are starting to snipe a lot of those units, and that's a beautiful play there by SpeCial. A great diversion there. But it looks like the surrounding is going to start to come in here for Bly. Bly wants to try to do as much damage as possible. Those snipes are going to be coming in, though, and the snipes are doing so much damage. At the same time, though, it does look like a lot of those units are going to go down, and at the same time, these Broodlords are getting absolutely decimated. Force-Bit Transfuses as well, and it looks like SpeCial did win that battle, but not by a whole heck of a lot. It does look like the Zerglings are going to start coming in, and the Zerglings are going to try to go ahead and get these, of course, the Ghosts, as the Surrounds are going to try to come in on the Ghosts. But the snipes are coming in. Those snipes are so devastating to those Ultralists that are just overextending a little bit. Bly was so hung up with getting the kill on some of those Ghosts that he sacrificed some of those Ultralists. Now, at this point, it doesn't seem that Bly is out of this thing yet, but that really hurts his army. There are no more Broodlords. Now, I'm sure Bly is going to start making more Broodlords here shortly, but SpeCial, I mean, he's been re-upping this army, and it looks like now he's going in for that blow against against, of course, this third hatchery, and that's exactly what he's going to get. And it looks like right after he's done, he might start just going back home. Beautiful play by SpeCial. SpeCial is picking apart his opponent, and it just, you know, he's kind of just holding him, kind of forcing Bly to split up his army. Just brilliant play. This is what we're talking about. When we talk about the highest level of play when it comes to StarCraft 2 and using the Terran pieces, we are going to see a nuke coming in, but that nuke is going to be, looks like of course, the Ghost is going to be destroyed there. But, you know, when we talk about the highest level of play, guys, you know, SpeCial is one of the best out there with the Terran unit, Terran pieces. I love watching him and seeing what he does and just how he does it is really remarkable. Now, Bly's a lot of fun, though, to watch, too. This guy is extremely fun. We are going to see the nuke is going to be triggered as well. Does look like, once again, we are going to see another engagement happening. The question is there going to be enough here, once again, for Bly, as his supply is continuing to plummet. The snipes are absolutely destroying all of those Ultralists, and just like that, SpeCial, pushing the 18.5-minute mark, absolutely destroyed so many. Pretty much all of those Ultralists. Now, there's more that are being re-upped right now, but the tactical nukes are coming in, and here come the Liberators, and those Liberation Zones are here, and oh my god, the amount of devastation. The nuke drops on top of a ton of those units that is at this fourth hatchery, this fourth hatchery that was retaken. Wow, beautiful play here by SpeCial, just absolutely devastating, to say the least. And it does look like Bly is still going to try to fight this thing out, but the longer this goes, there is absolutely no way, and GG is called, and SpeCial takes a commanding 2-0 lead over his opponent. I hope you guys did enjoy this game between SpeCial and Bly, and if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe for new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in game number 3.